Welcome back. This is the second part of the Ganonless tutorial, so you're going to be playing as Adult Link. It is the very fun part of Ganonless. I love Ganonless because of the adult section. The adult section is two main segments. There is up until Fire Temple and Fire Temple. Up until Fire Temple, it's a lot of overworld movement. You want Link to go from there to there, and then to there, and then to there. You could do that with simple movement if you're a beginner, just using rolls and backwalks. It's very important to be comfy with simple movement. But I will show the Hessing. Hessing is a super fun mechanic. It's not incredibly hard, it's just weird at first because there's many inputs. If you're a beginner, go take a look at the tutorial I've made about Hessing, but it's not necessary. I think it's cool that you start learning it pretty soon, but then you don't have to implement it in your run super early. You could just like walk around and just do the run. It's never necessary. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, so after picking up the Master Sword, you have the cutscene, and Sheik talks to you for a little bit, and then you're going to break free. Once you break free, you just want to equip some stuff and save and quit. So, equip Bomb Shoes on C down and Bottle on C right. You equip Bomb Shoes on C down because it won't unequip the nuts that you will need later on. And you equip Bottle on C right because of RBA. So Bottle on C right is mandatory. The rest you could switch it up, but it's just faster to do it like that. One thing to note, you will end on the item screen if you have done at least one pause between the reset of the end of Bottom of the Well and picking up the Master Sword. So basically, if you buffered dot skip, you'll end up on the item screen here. If you did not, it will be on the map screen, and then you'll just have to come through here. So you save and reset the console because there's no really fast way to get through this wall from this side, and then you will be at the entrance of Temple of Time. So you're in Temple of Time, and 4 rolls straight forward will get you out. Then 2 rolls down, and it's like 3 down right-ish, so you could get this cool side hop. Here the camera pans super weirdly, so you want to get used to handling your movement there. Try to practice it a bit. And then you go to Hyrule Field. In Hyrule Field, the fastest option is to do a double chew. So to do double chew consistently with setups, you have to use the hold R method, so you can hold R and still get 2 chews out, and they have a tendency to explode on wall, ledges, and that kind of structure. So the way you drop 2 chews is when you press R on the next frame, Link is available, so you press chew again and keep holding R, and 2 chews will get out. It's fairly easy to do because it's just 1 frame after. A good way to train is when you have 0 chews, you hear this little empty noise when you press chew successfully. So you could practice in the empty like that. If you were to do a normal Hess, you would press shield and then roll. What you're gonna do with a double chew Hess is press shield, then chew, and then roll. So it's just 1 more input. Once you start to get used to that, you're gonna be ready to double chew Hess. One thing to note is on walls or ledges, sometimes you will target the ledge on every single Hess frame that is possible. So it gives you like very consistent trajectory setups, and it's going to be very important for the one that we use right here. So this is the setup, and by Hessing with targeting the ledge, you can actually Hess across this river, and the patch is quite small. I show later how to keep the Hess going. Also, when you just turn around from this Hess, you have perfect angle to spawn the Poe. So you're aiming at this white texture on the wall, and you also want to have a little bit of space between the pillar and the texture. So once you recognize you're in position, you're gonna wanna roll forward, and when you're around the pillar, so right there, the Poe is going to spawn. If you quick draw jump slash from here, your jump slash is going to be too early, it's not going to hit. So what I use to time is a forward slash and then a jump slash, and it kills the Poe pretty consistently. And then you'll have to go position over there. So it's 3 side hops left, backflip, flick right. If you fuck it up, you can horizontal slash interrupt with shield and crouch stab. This is a common backup. You can double chew any wall with that. And it gives the exact same result. A very common mistake once you get used to this double chew Hess is to roll too early. You can recognize it because it looks like this. Otherwise, if you want to avoid the double chew, you could backwalk chew Hess, but backwalk chew Hess is going to give you 3 possible angles and is going to make aiming at the little spot to Hess across really hard. So the spot is here, so you have to go right there, and if you're too much to the right, this little bump will drop your Hess. Also, one thing to note is that those different angles will give you also different angles when you actually turn around. So once you turn around, you're not really sure to have the good angle for the Poe, you'll have to adjust it. So it's not really handy, I wouldn't recommend it. If you're a beginner, the angle that we use with the double chew Hess is exactly left. So if you go left with targeting and rolls, it's kind of slow, I'm not gonna lie. But this will give you the good angle for the Poe. Oh. Do side hop across, and here you can have your Q back. And that's the exact same angle that I was using before. So it's good to know. Otherwise, I think a backwalk would be better. Another safe thing for beginners is to jump slash B4 and then do 2 rolls, and then you can spam some crouch stabs and you'll kill the Poe for sure. Now that you're done killing the Poe, we're going to go put Bottle on B. So you want to align on this part of the texture on the wall. It's very lenient, don't worry too much. And you do 2 crouch stabs and drop your bugs. Then you're going to side hop to the right, and at the start of your side hop you're going to press bottle, so you have bottle in hand, and then you're going to aim for 2 frames, this one and the next one, to press B on. So you press B and you know you made it because he has bottle in hand, and now you want to shield swipe the bugs. So what you do is you target, then press shield, and after shield you press bottle. When you're going to release shield, it's going to swing the bottle. That's the way you want to catch the bugs, and if you do that, the bugs will be on your B button. After you have this, you pull it through instantly, go get the paw, and you has the Kakariko. It's a pretty cool Hess to do, especially the cooking with the Poe. Once you enter Kakariko, the commonly used setup is turn left side hop side roll, and it sets you up for a Hess. Here I'm going to introduce how to read the frame data. So when you have data like that, the first thing you want to check is on which lines do you have any O. So O is the working frame. So here you have 3 lines with O's, which means you have 3 frames to roll, which is 1, 2, 3 after you shield. And then it tells you which frames you can press Z and R with the colon. So I will be showing you that kind of data every time there is a precise setup that sets your position. Then you want to Hess up until the Cuckoo Lady, and you want to damage buffer on the Cuckoo Lady. So to damage buffer, you pull a chew, target her, and then press A to talk to her. It's gonna place the chew and then talk to her in a very good timing so that you can get a damage buffer. So by using one chew, you will lose a full heart. Half a heart before and half a heart after. Just like this. So what you want to do after is also Hess. You could Hess from the Cuckoo Lady. I have a tutorial about how to Hess from the Cuckoo Lady. Basically, after you get hit, you want to target, get a little bit away, and then try to get on her left because you use ESS left, and so you try to get a Hess without targeting her. You want to approach those stairs at an angle because otherwise they will drop your Hess. Then you go towards the other set of stairs, and as soon as you're on top of that, you want to be on ESS right, and you want to release Z only one time for the big turn. Then comes a left turn, which is also a pretty long Z release. You could go there by doing a single chew Hess. And as you can see, I'm gonna angle change to the right during the stairs. And the first big turn, which is the one that is hard to do, is done with one big Z release. Then you get to DMT Hess. This is the most important Hess in the entire run. And the setup is pretty easy. You turn right, and what you have to remember is to not roll too soon. Like the first frame that are going to work are if you roll 2 frames after your shield, and then you have 5 working rolling frames. So just keep that in mind for this Hess. It's very important. Do not roll too soon. Here you want to wait a bit to make your turn to not target the skull. The Tektite. And then here you want to cut pretty fast. So you want to cut sharp here so that you don't go all the way around. I know aiming is easier if you go all the way around, but optimally you would cut quite sharp, and then just when you see the little sign, you turn. And this will get you to Goron City. Once you're in Goron City, you want to stop the Goron that is going to give you the Goron tunic. So you want to pull out a chew, and you want to drop it while standing. So it means you want to keep Z target pressed so that Link keeps going forward while the chew is running. Then you want to press nut so that the chew blows up, and as soon as you touch the explosion, you press B to drop bugs. What this is going to do is buffer a damage because of dropping the bugs. So if you did it correctly, you should take another half a damage after that. If you're at 1 heart precisely, you can catch your bugs and start talking to the Goron. If you crouch, so if you don't hold target when you drop the chew, you're going to have Link stop and the explosion is going to be too far, so the damage buffer is very likely to fail. But it's no big deal, because when you drop bugs, you'll get 20 chews. What you can do before catching is just adjust your health by exploding chews on the Goron, and when you're good, you just catch your bugs, it will give you 29 chews, and you can go talk to the Goron. The Goron is going to talk to you for quite a bit, and at some point he's going to pop out blue text that gives you 2 choices. You have to choose the first choice, and then about 6 or 7 text boxes later, you're going to have to choose the second option. After that, he will give you the Goron tunic and the doors will open. Once the Goron gives you the Goron tunic, the doors are going to open. Next thing you want to do is go align with the fence. So you want to target when you climb or before you climb. And you're going to want to side hop, so you don't want to be too much to the right. Between second and third is usually fine. Once you have the angle, you turn right, and then you side hop left and pull a chew. So here you have the good angle for a Hess. And then you want to go to the right side of the statue and get either this angle or this angle. I use pause here, and it's a good time to do your equips. You can choose to put the Goron tunic or not, and then the next thing you want to do is hold Z and up in unpause, so this will clip you into it. If you're a beginner, you could go safe and just not use the Hess, but still use the same side hop because it damages you half a heart, and you want to have half a heart remaining health. You could either pull the statue, which I'm not gonna do, or do this little setup, for which you have to drop and roll really quick, and then you have to hold up right after the explosion touches you, not before. So this would be the first frame that you want to start holding up, basically. And this would also clip you inside. I'm not going to go into too many details for this trick because it's not a main trick that is very done. The next part is the very important Bolero skip. So the hard thing is going to be going into the bridge. So the setup is just one side hop to the left, and then you pull a chew and start running forward. You want to go to the very edge, turn around, and prepare for a mega side hop to the left. So for mega side hop, you could use the same 5, 6, 7, 8 cue that I explained in the Hess tutorial, and this will give you the good timing to drop the chew. After that, you have plenty of frames to roll, but you never want to roll too soon. As this frame data shows you, the first rolling frame that is going to work is the number 2 after pressing shield, and you could roll 6 frames after pressing shield. So it's quite lenient, and then you can hold left before you touch the explosion and mash A. After that, you turn around and back walk so that you get the angle from climbing up. You turn around and you do 2 backflip. During the second backflip, you shield drop a chew, and after shield dropping the chew, you only hold R, nothing else. And it's going to push you into the zone that triggers the cutscene, but you're also going to die from it, which skips Bolero. This is the hard and fast setup, so you're going to use the pod to do a mega backflip. You could want to pause here and do your equips here. You also want to note that if you equip and unequip Goron Tunic here, it gives you a little bit more leniency in the timing. The mega backflip already puts you in position, but you want to wait before you do the first backflip. Here the camera is very up, and you want to wait for the camera to go a little bit down, otherwise it has a tendency to fail. And same thing, 2 backflips and you die on the second one. So here's what it can look like if you do it without pausing, which is possible. So that was the optimal way to skip Bolero if you want to go for a very, very good time. Once you respawn, go instantly into Goron City. You'll notice Link will start in this position and then pop to the left. That's going to be your cue to flick up, backflip, side hop to the left. That's a setup for a Hess that uses ESS left at the start, which makes it easier for the first set of stairs. So start this Hess and don't touch anything before the stairs, then you can start moving and you'll approach those. So as you see, I released just before the flat of this staircase, and then I'm gonna tap Z on the next flat of the next staircase which is going to give me always the good turn. It's too big Z release, and you could also just do it in one time because the camera is going to be panning with you. Also, that was the fast setup for the Hess. So as you can see, the camera just stays behind Link and makes it that ESS does not drop. Here's the flashy Hess if you want to go for crazy times. It probably saves a second. Next thing you want to do is clip into this. So you want to align on the very left edge and then turn right. The camera is important. Then you're going to press B and it's going to make you fall. During the fall, you hold A. So you start pressing A as soon as Link is dropping. You press it because it's going to make that as soon as he grabs, he's going to let go. In order for him to grab, you need to hold ESS right. Then you're going to have 2 frames to press B. This one and the next one. So you press B on one of these. And then you're going to have 8 frames to release ESS. So it starts from this one. And it goes all the way up until Link is almost standing on the ground is going to be the last frame you can release ESS. This one. So you release ESS and you're going to be inside, and then holding upright on your analog stick will make you load. If you're going to go a little bit safer, maybe you want to align to this corner 3 side hops right and 1 side hop left. It's gonna make you climb on the very edge. Then you can drop and just hold ESS right so that you grab, and you want to be careful that the camera is gonna pan and then lock. When it locks, you wait a tiny bit and then you press A then B. B as fast as possible, preferably 1 frame after A. And this also clips you. It's probably an easier technique, but the other one is 2 frames, so it's not that bad. When you arrive in Zora, you want to target the wall and then swim to the right so that you can just hold up and pull a shoe here. It's gonna give you a better angle to walk. And here you do a mega side hop. The wall in front of you is going to make that the shoe stays closer, so you can drop it a little bit before if you roll later. Another technique for beginners is to get ISG here, which I have no idea how to do. And then you go target the wall, space a little bit, and 2 ESS left. Then you can side hop to the corner. And then when you pull a chew and drop and roll, then the chew is going to blow up and gives you a very easy mega side hop to the right. So that's the way you enter Zora Domain. Zora Domain can be done with a pretty complicated Hess, so the setup is turn left, 2 side hops right, crouch stab, pull a chew before you target, because even though you cut the sign, you still see this green arrow, which makes it able that Link is going to target it, and that's not good. Then the Hess is pretty quick. You have to roll 1, 2, or 3 frames after using shield, and you're gonna hit the explosion pretty fast. After that, you want to get an angle here that is not going to fall into the corner that is on your right, but also that is going to lead you directly to the stairs. So for that, you want to be grinding against the left wall. Ideally, you want to do Zora Domain Hess by staying on ESS left so that you don't lose speed on the curvy way up. If you switch to right, it's a bit safer, but you lose speed. Then you want to look at that dark texture that is on the wall, on the ceiling and everything. It gets a lot darker. So you backwalk past it and pull the egg while holding Z. After that, you go through that texture, which is the loading area, so that you unload and reload King Zora, which is going to unfreeze him. After that, you can talk to him with holding R, and it's going to give you the frog. If you don't want to go for the Hess, which is very understandable, You could simply roll your way there. And also, if you're a beginner, consider getting those nuts. You may want to use them against Volvagia at the very end. And then you can unfreeze King Zora the exact same way. Get past it, pull the egg, and then unload, reload, so he's unfrozen. One thing to notice is I am wearing the Kokiri tunic. This is because I used it while skipping Bolero, otherwise re-equip it after getting the frog. After collecting the frog, you're going to drop and catch your bugs. You want to make sure you're wearing the Kokiri tunic, by the way. So you're catching your bugs, and before you cancel the last text box, what I do is I already hold ESS. So I hold ESS left because I want to do ESS OI. So you cancel the last text box and then you press bottle and you have the 2 next frames to press the sword button. So you press them really quickly, I just slide my thumb. If you don't want to do that, you could press bottle and sword while Link is in the air. To do that, you could use a backflip, or you could use anything that makes Link be in the air for a little bit. As you can see, I just waited for the bugs to completely dig into the ground before releasing others. If you drop bugs while other bugs are loaded, they will simply all dig to the ground and you have no way to get them back. Once you're done doing OI, you play Bolero. Normally you're not supposed to play a warp song. It would technically directly warp you back to King Zora because you're not allowed to do that during the trade quest. But since we have the heat timer because of the Kokiri tunic, we're fine. So after Bolero, you just flick down and start back walking. That's the proper angle you want. Then one side hop left and you can back walk all the way up until the wall. If you lost the angle, it's just the angle of the wall. So you turn around and side hop right. If you don't have enough time, like I do, you just equip and unequip Goron tunic on the same pause. It will give you more time. You backflip and down roll to get the angle, and then side hop left will clip Link into the ladder. So if you press A to drop, Link will be out of bounds, and after 6 seconds and a half or maybe 7 seconds, Link will hit the void. What we want to do is equip the Goron tunic just before we hit the void. So we drop and then count 6.5 and equip the Goron tunic. You could be using the timer on top left to help you. So the text box get interrupted and you're back at Bolero with a timer that is frozen on 0. What you want to do at this point is just play Bolero again. So the fastest way to do that is to use, once again, ESSOI. By warping one more time with Bolero, you're actually going to freeze the timer on the value 1. Which is what we need for the very last trick, which will be the wrong warp to the credits. So right now, I'm just making my way to enter the fire temple. You have this ladder, so you want to jump and get close to it, and then around the end, try to grab it to not take damage, and enter fire temple. So what I just showed was the easy strats that most people do. There are more complicated strats that I'm going to show now. They both save around 2 seconds. You target this wall 1 ESS left, and then after 2 side hops you have a ledge clip. So it's a 1 frame Z press here, and if you keep holding Z, then you drop and jump slash instantly while holding up, Link will void, and you can count 6.5 seconds before equipping the Goron tunic to freeze the timer. After that, you play Bolero again, and you have a pretty similar way to enter Fire Temple without using the ladder. You're going to go and do the same ledge clip again. So we go and do the same ledge clip again, but this time after we clip, we're going to release Z before dropping. So we release target before pressing A. Then we target. I use shield to make sure the side hop to the right gets inputted, and this enters Fire Temple 2 seconds faster. Once you're in Fire Temple, you flick left and drop your bugs, then target and catch them. This is to keep the angle left of the entrance. Once you've done that, you're going to target and then press R, and on the next frame you press bottle. What you want to do is never press bottle too early, and when you get it, this will happen. Your controls at this point will be reverted. So you release Z and repress Z to get normal side hops. You make your way to the door and keep holding Z when you open it. At this point, the camera is very important because you're not facing Darunia, and that's what you want to skip him. So you make your way until the first platform with a jump and a jump slash, and you want to be on this particular little square, and you want to aim at the other platform, but you want to aim specifically at the first row of squares. It's very important that you aim for those. It's going to manipulate the camera so that you don't talk to Darunia. This is a safe strat to target here, but it's going to be the same path if you don't use it. So you want to stay on the very bottom row, and at the very last square on the right, you want to angle to the jump, just like this. If you do this, the camera will stay away from Darunia. And then you can simply go activate the switch and get the key. Before you open the chest to get the key, try to target it. So targeting the chest makes it more simple to flick right here, and then you can start a backwalk. You look at the right of your screen, and when the switch is fully on screen, you react to it and side hop to the left. After 2 side hops, you're on this platform, and you can just hold left and roll to get the jumps. And remember, this jump slash is very late into the jump so that you can go further. You're now on your way to the second key. I would suggest that you try to avoid jumping twice while jumping down to the lava, and try to aim straight at the door. Rolls seem to be the easier, but you could also go with a backwalk, for which the angle is kind of complicated and it's not that nice when you turn around and try to open the door. Then getting the second key with 2 rolls is optimal, but watch out for the bonk. Then you get this key and get out of this small area, and try to watch out for the bonk again on this pillar. It's very frequent, and then you have 1 more roll after that. So if you want to cross this with simple movement, just go a line, and after the corridor you do 2 side hops to the right. This sets you up for this very nice long backwalk. And then you want to climb here. Another movement for that is just simply flick up, the camera is consistent, and then do a backflip to not grab this ledge. After you climb on this mini island, you want to turn around and do the rest with rolls. So both of these are a good option if you want to skip the Hess. If you want to do the Hess, you could set up the angle with the camera always and just go sidewalking over there. This is a good way to understand which angle you need and where you want to go during this Hess. Once you feel comfy, you could simply pull a chew and go position manually. If you know where to go, this Hess shouldn't be a big problem. Then you want to climb up here and slash a chew. To slash a chew, it's a little bit the same thing as stopping the Goron with the nut. You don't want to crouch because you want to keep going forward. But then you want to slash without target, which is a slash that goes further and lower. So you drop the chew with targeting and then slash without targeting. If you want to not get hit, just hold down after the slash hits and you should avoid the explosion. So this is now third key. And here's another bit of movement time. So you want to aim almost directly at this little bridge that has a wooden plank. And then go open this door. Here you want to climb those vines. So doing 2 side hops to the right is a very convenient way to set it up. I think rolling once to this spot is optimal, but when you roll and just try to adjust it manually, then it's really hard to grab it as high as with 2 side hops and as precisely. Then you simply pull this big block. You actually push it. And when it falls down, you can dry roll and flick right so that you're ready for the next room. So this is what I call the green room. In the green room, the important thing is going to be that you need to lure one of these lava dudes so that you can get ISG over there. Otherwise he would be too far and you wouldn't be able to get ISG. Once you have ISG, you go in this corner here. When you target, you're going to target the block, and then it's going to be 2 ESS left. That's your position setup. Then you pull a chew, and you want to place it. You don't want to shield drop it. So you could either press A or C down, or I think any C button would work. So let's press A, and then you have 8 frames, I think I counted, to hold left. So basically, before the explosion touches you, you have to hold left. So if I'm not mistaken, I could hold left here and it will clip. In the air, once you're in the air, you want to hold target. When you land, you're going to be 1 side hop away from the switch, and if you're really quick, which I'm going to fail, you can side hop to the right. I was 1 frame too late. And then you go get this chest. This trick is pretty easy. One thing you have to be careful about is it's gonna cost you half a heart. So depending on your health situation here, like if you enter the green room with half a heart, you want to drink the Po so that you get more health and you don't die from the block clip. If you have 1 heart, then you want to wait, do the block clip first, and then maybe drink your Po. If you don't drink your Po, you're gonna be facing 2 enemies right after. The first one is going to be on top of these vines. There's a little lava dude again. And then in the next room, you have those skulls that are in fire and trying to catch you. So that's also a dangerous part. So usually he's not that aggressive, but you make your way to this room and you would usually hold up and jump slash. But it's worth to know that there's a heart here if you don't want to risk your run. Then with a jump slash you can climb here directly, and if you need another heart you can just grab and drop here. And then you want to open this door. This is a weird corridor. Backwalking should be better since it's like 4 rolls and a half, but it's just weird to backwalk fast. So I prefer using rolls. Then is the fire fences room. You could go with movement. So if you want to go with movement, this is where you want to go. And you align on that wall, flick left and backwalk, and it gets you through, and you can do the same thing for the other one. The second one usually touches you. Then you go to the other side and you want to hit the flames very close to the wall and target after you get damage. Then you're holding down and you want to wait a couple steps before you backflip, and this will get you past the fire gate. Otherwise you would pull a chew, flick left and do a Hess. I like to stay close to this wall because you actually benefit from it and you can get an easier Hess. So since this is pretty far into the run, a little bit of safety is really nice. But if you want to go incredibly fast, you could use a double chew Hess on this. The data is going to be 3 frames to roll, but you have to delay the roll so much that it's actually awkward to do it like this. I don't really like it. And then with ESS rate, if you do nothing, this fence will hit you. So what I do and what I would suggest is go do the slash crouch stab setup for the double chew, which gives you a way easier roll. It's still 3 frames to roll, but it just feels way nicer. And then when you get to this part, so when you see the door and the boulder, you just release Z and retarget for 1 frame. And this will give you a perfect angle to go Hess until the corner and save 2 seconds over the backwalk Hess. Now that you're here, you want to blow up the door that's in that corridor, so you could slash a chew. It's worth to know that you could also side hop and blow up the chew at the very start of the side hop, but you have to make that happen outside of the corridor. Otherwise the chew will be attracted by the walls or by the ground and it will not blow up. Once you're ready, you open this door and it's the flare dancer fight. So you store a jump slash and the first spawn is always on your right. You can target him and drop a chew and then crouch stab him. Look where I position. It's a really nice place where the flare dancer can't hurt you, and you actually have the camera pan really down so that you can very well see where it actually goes. On the 3rd hit, it will blow up, so you want to go position on one of the corners and grab so that you can go up during this little cutscene, which saves a lot of time. Then for the crystal switch, you want to target this door, and then you want to throw a chew on the left, but you want to cook it a tiny bit. So usually pull the chew before flicking left, and that's perfect cooking. Then open the door really quick, then target 2 side hops right, and during the back walk you release target and hold down left so you can grab and climb the vines during the animation. If you don't feel comfy about that, then you just enter the room normally, do the same movement. I climbed very late, so I'm a bit too much on the left, but it doesn't matter at all. Once you're done climbing, you just dry roll, turn to the right and drop a chew. It will work the same. Now here's a little tip. You can block your camera with a little bit of an angle before you climb those vines and keep locked this angle. and you will get it back when you drop from the vines. So you could do that with an angle that will put you at the door after 3 side hops, and it feels kind of fast. Now you're in the room that has the hammer, and if you climb there, flick upright and then side hop, it will make that the first path is going to be straight ahead of you, which I find comfy. Then I would suggest to not take too many risks, but you can roll as much as you want on this little path. And grab the hammer. Once you grab the hammer, it's going to be time to go to the boss. So it's boss key skip time, and the fastest way to do that is to immediately pull a chew, go align with this wall, and do a Hess here. Once you're in the corner, you want to target every possible angle, so you release and repress Z one by one, and at some point you're going to clip. You keep holding ESS, and when Link stops screaming, you press B and hold up, so it will jump slash and push you up, and you'll be at the boss. Another way you could do is just target the angle that you have after getting the hammer and using it to do the Chew Hess. This angle allows you to simply release target to clip, and then same cue. When he stops screaming, jump slash and hold up. You could also do the BK skip without using a chew, but you would need at least 1 full heart. So the way you do it is you jump over there and hold left since the very start of the jump, and you can cancel the full animation by holding target. Then you go on the very little edge of that ledge and targeting the wall, and then you can side hop and get a side roll, and then get a ledge clip from this frame. Once you're clipped, you can drop and then wait a little bit to hold down, and this gets you to the boss. It's now time for the Volvagia fight. It's a very thrilling moment. It's not super easy because there's many different patterns that you want to be able to react to. And there's also the fact that crouch stabbing bomb chews might seem hard. It's not, but it might seem complicated at first. So I'm gonna be putting energy cheat, Deku Nuts cheat, and bomb chews cheat just so that I can show you a few things. I'm not gonna really fight Volvagia at first. So what I like to do is equip hammer on C, right? So if you're crouch stabbing your chews, that's your last equip. You're set for the rest of the run. If you want to use Deku Nuts, which I would not recommend that much, like it makes it easier, but it's a bit slow. I would put them on C left, and then you'll have to re-equip the bottle after the fight, so it's a bit slower. But yeah, then in the unpause, I press hammer so that he draws the hammer, and on next jump, he'll have it in hand so that you can just jump slash to the platform, trigger the mini intro, and you'll have a jump slash from the hammer stored into your crouch stab. So that's what we're setting up right now. I can't speak. Okay, let's go. So you have this little intro. What you want to remember, well, you don't really have to remember it, but the very first lava pit that is in front of Link is the one that at the end of the intro, Volvagia is gonna come and dive into it. When Volvagia dives into a hole, there's some kind of a hitbox right there, and that's what we're going to use chews on. So we want the explosion to hit this hitbox as many times as possible, potentially 9 times. So if you were to be using Deku Nuts, I think you don't even have to move. Yeah, you heard the sound, it means it damages. I would still advise that you aim a little more left of the pit and do like that. Alright, so that's what you want to do for nuts. Now, for bomb chews. Bomb chews are hard to crouch stab on the ground. You see? I think it's frame perfect on the ground. But the thing is, with this little pit, you see that the bomb chew goes down and then goes back up. Well, when he goes down the pit, he is using a lot of his speed to go down and then to the left. So he's actually not getting very much away from Link, so it gives you more time to stab it. So you have to remember that. The hole is playing with you, it's gonna help you with that. And then another thing is you want to stab downwards, so you're holding up while you stab. Volvagia, can you just go somewhere else? I'm trying to explain. So that's what you want to do. That way. You want to aim for the stab to hit right after the chew goes down this little pit. Of course you don't want to hurt yourself every time you're doing this, so what you're going to do is when you see the stab is going, you're going to start holding back. Like this. And you want to get comfy at just doing this over and over. There's a lot of lag because of the rocks. By the way, you're not hearing the sound of Volvagia getting hit anymore because she's been flying around and she dove into another pit, so her hitbox is somewhere else. In every single scenario that is fast, at least, you're always gonna be aiming at this pit, so don't worry about anything else, right? Okay, so that's it for how to crouch stab the chews and how to use your nuts to be too lazy to crouch stab them. Now let's see what an easy way of fighting is, and the easy way of fighting is going to be using the 1-3-3. So 1-3-3 is a way to damage Volvagia so that its head is actually going to pop out twice. Is that correct? 1-3-3. No, not even 3 times. So 1 more times than usually. So in order to do that, you have to not hit Volvagia too much in the 2 first times, and then it's gonna pop a 3rd time and it's gonna be perfect. So you start by putting 1 chew and then you go run at Volvagia, stun, and come back to the pit for 3. That's gonna be your first thing to do. So I'm gonna try to do 1-3-3. So it starts with 1. Oh, I'm unlucky again. Okay, so then you stun. And then you put 3. What's important is that the 3rd one is pretty late. Like if Volvagia is still already popped out, it's really good. And then for the last 3 you can just rush. But it's really important for the first batch of 3, watch out that the 3rd one is not too early, okay? And that's gonna kill. If you're a beginner, you can aim to do this for every situation. Anywhere that Volvagia pops. When Volvagia does not pop in front of you, you'll see that the effort to not go too fast on the first batch of 3 is not that easy. So practice it a little bit. About everything that is like fast cycles and all of that, I have made a great video in which I show how to do the quickest cycle for every single place that Volvagia can pop. So there's 9, it looks like a numpad, so easy notation and pretty easy to understand. Now, when the cutscene is done, there's a way to get initial position. So initial position is going to be you holding ESS down, and as soon as you see Link stopping to ESS down, which means he's going to start looking at the camera more and more, you want to release the joystick to make sure that it's not going to pan in any other direction. So let's see how it looks. Here, he blocked. Okay, I release. So that's my good position. That's perfect position, and I'm good to go to try to set up. If you lose this position, there's a way to back it up. So let's say you lost it because of whatsoever, then you want to go to this corner. It's the corner that is pointing at the door, right? So you back walk to it, and you make sure you're on the first possible climbing situation of this side. I'm sure you understand what I mean. Then you climb up, turn around. It's 3 backflips, and then it's 2 side hops, and then it's a roll. And here you are in the exact same situation as if you had just kept your angle with ESS down, which was the initial position. Okay, so in those 2 situations, we're gonna be doing the same thing, which is we drop the bugs, then I'm going to side hop to the left, and I'm going to watch what the bugs are doing. Look, they're going to, at some point, come back to where I was if I side hop to the right. So I want to wait for them to come back there before I side hop to the right. Otherwise, when Link is around, they have a tendency to just like start moving away from Link, and then they get hard to catch in the bottle. We do that because we want to keep the same position. So side hop left and side hop right puts you back into the same position. We just want to be able to catch the bugs. So the bugs come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. And that's where you go. And that's how you catch the bugs. Once you got bugs in your bottle, you're able to do ocarina items. So the last thing is going to be about your health. So right now I have half of 1 heart, which is going to give me 4 seconds. And it's going to open me to 2 different scenarios. I could jump at the end of 3 and mash B forever. Never stop mashing B until I see the credits, basically. Or I could wait to jump at the end of 2 and just cancel the OI really quick so that Link goes inside the warp, which is the one I'm going to show you. So at the very end of 2, when it's going to go to 1, I'm going to backflip for the OI. Here I pressed B very fast after he lands. Might have pressed it too late. For the case that you would be jumping on 3, you would need to mash this text. And here you're at the credits. On the very first frame that the text cancels and that you have the first frame of the credits, that's when you smash the split and your run is basically done.